Chicken Fillets here, and it's time for another remembering episode. This series, well, basically, I remember about a video game. With this series as well, I like to do this in a one-take format, so if I make mistakes, if there's spoilers, well, you've been warned. What I like to also do with this series is basically take you through the journey which I've had with this game, starting from how I got into the series, my general thoughts about the game, and then the future of the series. So let's begin about how I got into this game. Now, it was actually because of YouTube videos, funnily enough. It was in top 10 Vita games you should get, or RPGs are essential to your PS Vita, blah 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 blah. Like so these Watch Mojo lists that I used to watch all the time before I really got into YouTube. Now, at the time, my PS Vita was basically filled with Final Fantasy, but I'd not long completed Persona 4 Golden. Now, I eventually got my hands on this game. I think it was either Christmas or it was a birthday present, and I've never looked back at it. If you're a friend of the channel, you will know that I am big into my trails of games. But this was the starting point for me, and I do not look back. I just love the series now because of it. So what are my thoughts on the actual game itself? Now, let's start off with the actual game in general. So, Trails of Cold Steel, you start off as Reen Schwarzer and Class 7 in Thor's military academy in the land of Trista, in the town of Trista. And this is set in a school setting, and I quite like this because I was used to the school setting from Persona 4 Golden, and having those sort of social links or forging your bonds with your fellow classmates, etc. I enjoyed that aspect of Persona, and I love this aspect because of this. I loved it in Trails of Cold Steel. I lost my place there. Could you tell? Other things I really enjoyed with this is you're basically doing assessments by going to various landmarks throughout Erebonia, and you do other tasks with it, but the plot reveals itself during these trips away where you're essentially stopping terrorist attacks from happening. I mean, imagine you're going to school, it's like, hey kids, today we're going to stop terrorism. Dun, dun, dun. I mean, that wouldn't fly today, but other things you get to do as well is doing tasks for the student council, I think it was for TOA, whilst you've got your days off, and I quite enjoyed doing that, and this gives you a chance to know your characters better through bonds. The other great thing with this game, the battle system is awesome with it. It has a turn-based combat system, but I kind of link it to Final Fantasy X, where you can see whom has got the next turn. And the other good thing with this is it's quite strategic, because you can move your characters around the battle area, and basically placing your characters in the right position will either help you or it will work against you. So there's you always have to think forward with the battle system. The characters in general, I really like the Class 7 cast. Likes of my top 3 out of them. Laura, Sarah Valstein, now she's a teacher, and Crow. Now, I do like Reen Schwarzer as well. He's a great character, but that's the side characters with Class 7. But with Crow, right? He has a Final Fantasy 7 moment, and you might be thinking, wait a minute, what are you on about a Final Fantasy 7 moment? This is Cold Steel. What? Okay. Ares in Final Fantasy 7, when I did my first playthrough, I built her up as a character. I worked at leveling her up. Then she got killed. All that work for nothing. Well, if you know Cold Steel, you know I'm going to say here. I did the exact same. I worked very hard in leveling him up, and he turned out to be the fucking antagonist. He was the terrorist we were chasing. That was pretty funny. I look back, I was so annoyed. It was like, oh great. Other things, the story as well. I mean, I liked when you start off in a war zone and the rail cannons fire, and then it goes to like a 3 months earlier sort of thing, and I was excited to get back to that point and see what would happen afterwards. The exploration of the schoolhouse as well, and finding Valimar, this massive robot in the middle of a underground and under a school. It was like, what? What? Eh? And then the ending of the story is just, it goes 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds flat. It's unbelievable, the sort of twists with that ending. All these robot armies start invading Thor's academy, and you're trying to stop the invasion, and then you have a boss battle where you're it's another new mechanic thrown at you right at the end, where you're fighting as Valimar against all these other robots, and then the ending leaves you on a complete cliffhanger, and I had to get the second one straight away for my Vita. I just loved every second of it. Now, the other awesome things with Falcom games, and I've said this many times on this channel, the OST, the soundtrack is immense with this game. Anything done by Falcom is amazing, but this is one of my favourite soundtracks, the likes of Atrocious Raid that plays right at the beginning of the game, the likes of having multiple battle themes depending on the sort of scenario you're in, so like boss battle themes, if you're doing a assessment battle against your friends, general fights, or like if your health goes down, then you've got another theme that cracks into it. It's just ace. Now the future of the series, well, we've had 4 games in the Crossbell arc, so there's not going to be any more. As much as I would love a Cold Steel 5, but we have got Reverie, Trails into Reverie, which is the epilogue to Crossbell arc and the Arabonia arc. So if you've played all these games but you haven't played that one, I would recommend it. I've done a review on the channel about the Nintendo Switch version, so have a look into that. But whether or not other characters will appear in the Kuro games, the ones in Japan, we've not had these games across the West yet. We'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, those were my thoughts about Trails of Cold Steel and another Remembering episode in the books. Now, if you like what you're hearing and seeing on the channel, please like, share and subscribe. And to be kept up to date with everything Chicken Fillets, please hit that notification bell. And as always, any comments, just fire them down below. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this series. Anyway, this has been Chicken Fillets, and until next time, tatty bye!